All right, welcome back, guys. This is Dallas Prospect, the Dallas Prospect, joined here with Cameron Gatewood as well as Law Nation to talk a little bit of Cowboys and some NBA news. Cam, how you doing today?
Man, I'm doing fine. How everybody else doing out there today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How about you, Law?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. I'm just ready for the season to kick off.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as the chat kind of fills out here, um, I wanted to take a look at some of the things that Cameron mentioned the other day. Just kind of looking at the schedule again. I know we're still not quite to training camp now, but just a little bit better of an idea, I think, on the schedule, kind of just grading what we think or the tough games going to be, the highlight games, and kind of determining what we think the Cowboys' record might be, as well as any major stat milestones or anything like that. Like for instance, do you think the Cowboys will end up with a guy over 1,000 yards receiving this year?
To me personally, let me turn my volume down a little bit. But to me personally, that is not the angle that we should shoot for. I think that the Cowboys should be okay with just a 800 to a 700 type of receiving product if you
Yep.
spreading the ball around properly.
Yeah, I agree. So let me pull up the schedule here for us, and we'll take a look at all of that. So let's see. So we know we open with Carolina,
Yeah.
and that's going to be a road game. I was telling them the other day, them Law and Big Game James. It's actually I've been jokingly referring to it as like the Dannon Yogurt Bowl because if you recall that Cam Newton lost the Dannon sponsorship for a perceived sexist comment he made towards a female reporter, and Dak ended up picking up that sponsorship. So I jokingly was calling it a feud over that sponsorship for the game, like the Dannon Yogurt Bowl.
Yeah, their skill set is similar too as well, as far as Cam Newton and Dak Prescott.
Mm-hmm.
I think that yes, the Danny Yogurt Bowl, as far as the sponsorship, so it's going to be crazy marketing. And I think in this day and time, I think that they should take the opportunity to exploit that, as far as marketing, and maybe both teams going to try to come out the gates running the ball, and hopefully the Cowboys come out with the W on top.
Yeah,
Off
no
top.
doubt, no doubt.
Well, I'm thinking that that Panthers, like this guy, he was talking about the Panthers D line is gonna smother our offensive line. And I was like, it's no way because we have Tyrone Smith back. We
Mm-hmm.
have we have what's his name? I forgot his name on top of my head. We have Frederick. We got Frederick. We also, I mean, basically, we have all our line back. There's no way
Connor
that,
Williams, was that who you were thinking of?
yeah, Colin Williams.
Yeah.
And there's no way that nobody is gonna run over our offensive line. I think the first thing the Panthers got to do is stop our running game, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like we're gonna trick them into doing into a passing game because I think our passing game is going to be elite. I really feel like we're
Hmm.
going to end up probably doing like 1,000 yards automatically because we got these little guys, these little scat guys. They're going. Because Dak, he's not a downfield guy. He's gonna be a guy is hitting these 5
Intermediate.
yards.
Yeah.
Oh, just like the Tom Brady. Tom Brady hits these like 4 7 yards or whatever, and make them dangerous. Because I'm thinking that's the exact way that the Cowboys gonna go by. That's what I'm thinking. That's my philosophy on
I
that
mean,
one.
if he's got a good run game, he will thrive as a passer, like we saw a little bit in 2016. Even when some of his down the field throws weren't super on point in 2016, he still was able to put up healthy averages and everything. And to if your run game's working, it opens up the passing game. It gives you better coverage to look at, and typically things break more your way. So that's definitely a possibility there. I don't know that they'll have anyone who goes for over 1,000 yards. I think it'll be pretty evenly distributed. But I would
Mm.
say if someone were to challenge for that mark, it would probably be like a Hearns or someone like that. One of their guys who's kind of a tweener on size, but can play inside or out. Just more opportunities that way.
You don't think that? You don't think that they changing their offense? Because in a way, I know we're looking at, all right, we have Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel is going for a passing now. They trying to put him passing, and you got Tavon Austin. Like if you keep looking at what they're trying to do, in a way, it seems like they're gonna try to mix it up and change it to maybe to be a passing team a little bit more than being a running team. I mean, do you not feel that?
I mean, my general sense is their identity is the run, and the pass feeds off the run. They might get more creative with the passing game, and they might pass to Zeke a little more, but that doesn't change their identity. Law, what do you think?
Yeah, the creativity, they're going to try to do that more, but far as like overall, no, it's going to be more of like you said before, it's going to be more of a well-balanced team, and they're going to be pushing the ball throughout the team. So just look for that too as well. As far as the running back running out of the backfield, we're going to see more of that. Don't forget about the Rod Smith, the Jamez Olawale guy, and also Tavon Austin. They're going to have to pick up some snaps, and then I leave out Bo Scarborough too as well. This is going to help out collectively of what the Cowboys going to do. Now, as far as Cam Newton and his team, hey, it's going to be similar. They have Nove Turner. I think Nove Turner is going to try to create the run, set up the run first, and then pass.
Yeah, I agree. That's what they're going to have to feed off of in that. And I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make. I think, like I said, I think they'll be a little more creative with how they line guys up, but I think a lot of it is still going to be pretty fundamental in that sense. You might have receivers running a wider range of routes, which allow for a little bit of a different look, but I still think they're a team that's going to rely on Zeke for something in the neighborhood of 25 carries a game, which, give or take, you don't want to have to put a ton of wear and tear on him, but I think that is something that will still play to his strength and the team's identity, because Dak, I think he'll be an improved passer this year, but he's still a guy who he feeds off of. He's good at picking his spots, right? When you're having him drop back just over and over and over again, like we saw last year when Zeke was out, granted Tyron was out for a chunk of that as well. It's not the same guy back there necessarily. And that's not a problem. I mean, that's not a thing where you rip that to shreds, because those guys are pretty rare in the league anyway. It's something where you just have to find the right thing to complement him and let him be effective. So, should make for an interesting thing all the same. Also interesting of these first few games here, as we've mentioned before, obviously David Irving's out for 4 games and continues to kind of be head-scratching in what he's talking about regarding basically he basically can't just shut up. Like he's doing social media talking, but saying some stupid stuff in the process. Like someone talking about, he commented on something where someone was talking about like, days like this, I just want to smoke a blunt or something. I'm paraphrasing, but he basically comments on that like, oh man, don't I know it, or something to that effect. And it's like, oh dude, you're literally for substance. Do what?
I think David Irving going through it.
Oh, I absolutely think so, but it's like that's a terrible look right now, given you're facing a 4-game suspension for failed drug test.
He going through it. Girlfriend, family, daughter. It's football. All this is it's probably just going towards his mind. Like, man, what? I know I need to put family first, but also I gotta still put football first. But he's trying to juggle between the two in a way, but family always still got to go first. So his mind is just messing up. His mind is not in the right place. That's just me just thinking about that. Because if back home is not right, I don't care who you are, man. It's kind of hard for any man to go to work properly.
Sure.
And then be successful about that. What do you think, Law?
I think the mind, hey, by renewing of the mind, be ye not conformed of this world. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
But it's one of those things where I'm not gonna try to take you guys to church, but that's what the Bible always say: the mind, the battlefield of the mind. You know, if you control the mind, you can control the body. And I'm thinking that he's in his feelings, he's in his emotions. He's one of those guys that just don't get it. And going back and forth with the Twitter rant, and going back and forth with the Instagrams, it's not a good look, and it shows and it speaks volumes of what his character is too as well. So hopefully, maybe down the line he can figure out some way somehow to overcome that. But at this age, he's not a spring chicken. I think he's what, 25, 26.
That's pretty spring chicken, man. But
Man.
yes, 20, 25, 26. I mean,
Well,
like
man.
not
When I was-
like not like fresh in the league, young pup. But as far as like, I don't know. I mean, if you're talking about from the stance of maturity, yes, he should be better by now.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. From maturity, 25, 26, you're a grown man. You've been a grown man for some time now. I'm not trying to give the man, not as far as football life, of course, you probably can say, yeah, he's still young from a pedigree of that. But as far as going back and forth with somebody at 25, 26, he need to grow up. You know, he got a lot of opportunities to put his family, his daughter, in situations where she would never have to work ever in her life.
Mm-hmm.
He's losing that, you know. So hopefully, not trying to cast aspersions on him, but hopefully he can just get his mind together and just get out there and play football, and not try to get into fights, Twitter wars and Instagram wars with fans.
Yeah, agreed. So let me see here, looking through the schedule here. So the 4 games he's missing, we already talked on the Panthers game. That one could be impactful in its own right, just because a guy like Cam Newton is just such a mobile quarterback and a little bit of a, you know, he's a beast. He's a big dude to get down. He's an inconsistent passer, but he's got a cannon for an arm. And it would really, really help to have a big, fast, freakishly tall, long-armed, defensive tackle able to help track him down. But it looks like that's not going to be the case, so they're going to have to figure out a way to get through that. Also, then
Do you think their receiver core is better than our receiver core?
The Panthers?
Or do you think their receiver core is better than our secondary?
I don't think they're
that?
better than our secondary, no. I think with them, it's going to be about containing Cam Newton and stopping the run. But as far as if their receiving core is better than our receiving core, they've lost a lot to that receiving core in the last couple years. But they're more proven, I would say. The Cowboys kind of have a collection of outcasts, so to speak, between Hearns and Tavon. They do have Beasley, but he's coming off a really bad year. And obviously T. Will's stock is at an all-time low right now. So it's one of those things where you just got to kind of determine it. I think the Cowboys probably have a better receiving core, but I don't think there's one guy that, like, there's no one you look at like a Desiree, like, yeah, this guy's better than anything you got. I think as a unit, they are better. And I think that'll be their strength.
Okay,
Yeah, no doubt. And when you're talking about the receiver core, who's better, who's not, and this sort of thing, you're on the road. You know, one thing that you do know that travels, defense. Defense travel. So hopefully our defense will be able to step it up and show out. And if you can rattle maybe the younger receivers on the opposite side, like the DJ Moore, we do know that he have high expectations, high hopes.
Yep.
And there was a battle one time before between Jordan Lewis and DJ Moore. So hopefully we can see that battle in the inside, because it seems like Chris Richard is going to place Jordan Lewis in the inside, and I think DJ Moore is playing more of the slot receiver for the Panthers. So if you look at it from this aspect, I think that Christian McCaffrey, he's a guy that we really have to pay attention to as well. He can catch the ball out of the backfield, run in between tackles. He's one of the guys that was underrated coming out of the draft, and that's another story. I can tell you guys about that down the line on something else. But he is explosive, elusive, kickoff return, punt returns. You got to watch out for that number 22.
Yeah, that'll be that'd be really cool to see. I hadn't even really considered the fact that Moore and Lewis had crossed paths before.
Man, I didn't even think about that too.
Yep.
Well, I mean, what do you put them at for the points? What do you see the points at?
Like predicting the score of the Carolina game?
Yeah. What do you see that?
That, that's tough to say right now. When the offense was firing on all cylinders right before the Zeke suspension, they had something crazy like 4 or 5 straight. I mean, it's not crazy. 2016 put these numbers to shame. I'm just saying, like, they were firing on all cylinders like 2016. They stretched like 4 or 5 games together in a row where they went at least 30 points for the offense. Now, granted, they lost a couple of those, but it's still something where the offense was firing on all cylinders. I think the O-line and therefore the run game will be better this year. So my gut tells me, but it's on the road and that is a tough environment. I'm going to say something like Dallas 28, Carolina 23. That's just early prediction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going more so like 23 to maybe 17. It's going to be a tight, close game. Of course, I'm leaning on the Cowboys winning, although
Yes.
The odds are the predictions for us to have a good season is better for us to lose the first game, believe it or not, with Coach Garrett at the helms. But neither here nor there. I would just like to see us come out and play and ball, but it's going to be one of those games where it's tight because I do know that Carolina Panthers still have a stingy defense. They have a defensive tackle that's really grit and grimish and nasty too as well. I do know he's going to be going against one of the best offensive lines in the world, right?
Yep.
But it's going to be one of those things whereas you still have to take account for Cam Newton is a type of player that plays with momentum. If he can get a big play, if Cam Newton can get a big spark from a kickoff return or a punch return, we can find ourselves trying to fight and claw our way out of this game. Especially, like I said, defense. Defense is one of the things that travel. But unfortunately, when you're talking about week 1 and week 2, the running game that we have really don't hit on all cylinders at that time. And also the defense really not hitting on all cylinders at that time because of the collective bargain agreement that players ain't used to hitting and tackling. So it's going to take maybe around week 3, week 4. Think about this, and I know I'm long-winded when I say this. Think about this. The Patriots, every year, they always start off slow. I remember the Texans gave them a run for their money. I remember they losing to another team, and the Patriots like, oh, wow, now the Patriots going to fall. But no. They're getting their mind together. They're getting their bodies together. And then week 3, week 4, of course, they play for a horrible division, but they will still get their bodies together. And then you'll see that's the Patriots of old. So it may be the same thing with our Cowboys. Our beloved Cowboys may start off slow.
Boy, I'm thinking a 26-23 high-scoring game in a way. Just because, it's going to be the first game. You already know our secondary is going to slip up a little bit. So, because Cam Newton, he's going to slide off on the right side or the left. He's going to run. It's going to be hard to stop that. So, we got to – I feel like, we kind of got to be realistic on that because Cam Newton a big guy. Like my twin brother, he was playing against Cam Newton. Cam Newton was running ever since in college. And over there when he was playing in for the junior colleges.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother.
After Cam transferred from Florida and took a year at the JUCO. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember going to one of the games and surprising my twin. He's a linebacker, and Cam Newton, he was just bursting off to the edge, And my brother, he fast, so he sucked up Cam Newton, and he knocked him out to the sideline. I mean, it's the same thing. Like, I just feel like it's going to be hard, a little bit to stop him. It's going to be like a high-scoring game, a little bit, very close.
Right.
And I think when Cowboys, we buckle down when it gets to fourth quarter. When it gets to the fourth quarter, man, we buckle down. That's when, we end up winning by 3 points. We would start relying on our kicker. I feel like that's going to happen on the first game, but down the road for the rest of the schedule, and it'll start, opening it up, and the secondary start understanding because right now they trying to learn their feet.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading about Byron Jones and Jordan Lewis and Cheeto.
Yep.
They talking about their feet, their placements. they're struggling with that, you know. And it's like, Brian Jones, I don't know if you can see his highlights sometimes here and there while he in practice, he's doing good, but sometimes you can see him a little struggling with his feet. So I just feel like that first game, they're gonna try to, it's gonna be kind of hard for them, but they're gonna get it, and that's why I feel like it's gonna be 26-23.
Okay. Yeah, very nice. Let me run through a little bit of the shout outs here in the chat. We got always fun saying this name. Shout out to Sugar Daddy Glech. That's another funny one. Virginia's finest, say prime time. He's really feeling what Law was spitting earlier. Jesse Ortiz as well. Yep, very nice. Thanks, guys, for joining us. We are live on the Dallas Prospect YouTube. Here in the near future, I'm going to get us back co-streaming on the Facebook page as well, but for now, we're just here. So some of you were actually on earlier, too, when I was talking NBA as well. So welcome back again, Gle. I know you came in on the very end of that, and we're kind of bummed to miss out on that one, really, as I was basically in the process of signing off. But, yeah. So for the Cowboys, if we were to go game by game, I mean, we could talk on this hours, it seems like, going through this. So I'll switch methods this way. I'll run through, I'll go game by game, just saying who the opponent is and if it's home or away. Each of you give me your gut feeling. I'll chime in as well, and I'm going to take a note, and basically we're going to see what it translates to as far as a win-loss record. So let me draw this up here. All right, so game one, it sounds like all of us took Dallas. So that's a 1-1 or 1-0 start. All right, game two, it is at home versus the Giants. Cam, what do you think?
That's a win.
Yeah,
that's a win.
I think so too. I think the Giants were really bad last year, and they're going to get better, but it's going to take some time, and week 2 is not enough time for them. Law, what do you think?
Against the Giants, yep. I think we win. I think it's going to be one of those games where Giants going to start off leading, and then all of a sudden, bam.
Gotcha.
We make a comeback. Eli give us some gifts, and I'm singing Eli, 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 and we win that game.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think so too. Week 3 to Seattle.
Ooh, man. I mean, they don't have the Legion Boom. I mean, I just say.
Yep, Chancellor just retired too.
I would see a win on that because, the quarterback he ain't focused on football no more. He focused on that money right now. So he trying to own another team. So I'm feeling like Dallas gonna go ahead and take that.
Yeah. Okay, so you got that. You got a 3-0 start. Cam, Law, what do you think?
It's going to be a rough, rugged game. Both teams going to have something to prove. I think Chris Richard wants to prove the fact that that they let him go too soon. They didn't give him a better opportunity, I guess. And then also, I think that they're going to, on the opposite side, prove that he was the problem in Seattle. So it's going to be one of those tight, vested games. I think that the Cowboys still squeeze out a victory. We're not going to get the 28 or the 30 points that we promised. Everybody think that we're going to be heading in one of those high-scoring years, but it's going to be one of those games that we pull one out at the end.
Yeah. Okay. I'm actually going to go curveball on this. I think it's going to be one of those strange stumbling blocks we have early in the season. I think defense makes some plays, couple turnovers, but I think for whatever reason, Dallas just isn't able to put points on the board. They have to keep taking field goals instead of touchdowns or something to that effect. We typically have one of those weird trip-ups early in the season, and I just feel like this might be that one. So I'm going to say that's Seattle there. All right, so let's pick up running through this schedule here because a lot of the people are asking on basketball talk in general as well. At home versus Lions, win or loss, Cam?
That's going to be a win. Because I just feel like Detroit Lions don't really have anything to compare what Dallas have. I mean, because our running game is going to run all over them. We might just run the ball all game and
Yep,
barely
yep,
pass. You
yep.
know, but our defense, I feel like our defense really going to show. It's really going to pick up. And that's when DeMarcus Lawrence going to really be hitting them sacks even more. Um, I think it's going to be a couple interceptions. So I feel like that's going to be a win on that one.
Yeah, Law. What do you think they beat Detroit at home?
Highland Park on. He's gonna pretty much get out there and he's gonna pretty much throw the ball around and we're gonna lose that. We're gonna fall on our faces, I guess, on that particular game. It's gonna be like a 35 to maybe 31. And Matthew Stafford gonna get that W.
Okay. I got Dallas bouncing back after what I predicted was a Seattle trip up. So I got 3-1. Law, you got 3-1. Cam, you're sitting at 4-0. To the Houston Texans. This will be an interesting match because if Deshaun Watson keeps his magic going from last year before the injury, this could be a very, very tight game.
I think the Dallas is going to beat the Texans,
Okay.
just from the simple strength that I can't stand the Texans. I think they put the star on their logo just to say they're in Texas, but
Pretty much.
Yeah, you can't imitate it, but never duplicate it, right?
Yep.
So we're gonna win that game.
Okay, Cam, what do you got?
I would say Dallas. I'll say Dallas will win that one.
All right, Cam's feeling very optimistic on this season. We up to 5-0 here. All right, at home versus the Jags. I'm just gonna say it. That's a loss for me.
Yeah, that's a loss for me too.
That's a W for me.
Add a line, Law. Add a line.
Blake Border will not be able to push the ball on our defense. We all thinking about the Jacksonville Jaguars defense, but Blake Borders will not be able to push the ball, and I think their running game, we're going to eat it up alive.
They run the ball very well. They have one of the best, if not the best, secondary in the league. I think that they are going to one-on-one be able to beat our receiving core as is, especially since it's a fairly early in the season game. And I think they're going to stack the box because they'll be able to win one-on-one at corner. So that's why I'm taking.
We'll see. We will see.
I mean, you gotta understand, man. That secondary is good, man. That defense, our whole defense is good, and also the offense, they got some good receivers. I mean, Blake Bortles, he's not that bad either. You know what I'm saying? He's not better. He's not better than that, but he can throw the ball to you. He can get it to you, but his receivers can make some moves. You know what I'm saying? And then also, I just think that, man, that running game, man, that's another Zeke back there.
Another Zeke or a poor man Zeke, because you got to understand this: how often do teams get 100-yard rushing on us?
Oh, hardly ever. That's one thing that we've been good at on defense for the past couple of years.
They're gonna get it that day. No, I'm joking.
This is a home game, right?
Yeah.
No,
you got to understand too: is a away game or a home?
It's a home game.
The home game. So defense travel. I understand they defense going to travel, and you got Jalen Ramsey. But who else do you fear out there on the secondary?
Let's see.
Abuye?
Yeah.
Barry Church. Come on now.
I'm not worried about Barry Church. Barry Church is just.
He's a veteran. He knows.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's trash. I'm just saying he's not like a guy that scares me. He looks good because he's surrounded by a very good secondary in general.
Mm-hmm. But outside of Jalen Smith, outside of Jalen Ramsey, who else on that defense you would rather have opposed to what we have? We had Cheeto Awuzie, Jordan Lewis, and then we also have.
It's not their corners versus our. True, but it's not their corners versus our corners. It's their corners versus our receivers.
Okay, cool. True that. So who's their receivers? So let's break down their receiver. You got Allen Robinson, right?
Yeah.
Who else?
They don't have a great receiving core.
So I don't know everybody.
I would take, believe it or not, I'll take Cole Beasley over Allen Robinson. I know I'm gonna get some hate mail over this. Give Cole this third year with Dak Prescott, and what I'm seeing, what he's doing with his short area quickness. Watch, he's gonna eat inside, and then on top of that, you talking about Tavon Austin, who can take the top off the defense. This is not the Homerville. This is not me homering it up, but watch how this team is going to dominate that front.
Yeah.
All right. Since you talking like that, Law, what's the What's the points?
What's
What's
the
your
points?
points?
They're gonna drop 28 points on the Cowboys. Gonna drop 28 points on them, and they can't get past 16.
Nah, man, come on, man.
Trust me. Trust his defense.
Okay.
Yes, indeed. And then don't let us get Randy Gregory out there now. Let me get Randy Gregory. You have Chaco Tarleton. He's going to be extra seasoned. Then you have D-Law on the other side. Then Collins going to be back during that time. And did we forget? Are we going to have David Irvin, Bailey Irvin out there too as well during that time?
D.D. Westbrook's an interesting receiver for them, OU guy. He didn't get a whole lot of playing time last year, but he showed out. He could be a trouble because he's a real speed threat, ridiculously fast.
He's a faster Cedric Wilson, right?
Yeah, but he's a twig. That's his drawback.
Yeah.
So, I know this is gonna be off topic, but do y'all think Charles Tapper going?
I think we've said he's very much at risk for getting cut in camp, just because his health just continues to betray him, and now they're getting some real depth along that defensive line. Someone's gonna push him for that spot.
Someone's telling me he's gonna break out and he's gonna be off the chain.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it, but I watched him. I'm an OU guy, and I watched him there too. And he's a solid guy when healthy, but he's never like blown me away to the point where I'm like, yeah, that is our guy. Even when he was there, I leaned more on guys like Stryker and all that.
Oh, for real.
But anywho, this will probably be something where we split up the schedule, go through this, because I do like how we're kind of giving our general thoughts on it piece by piece, but we'll be on the stream for like 2.5 hours if we go through the whole thing plus NBA talk. So we'll do that. We'll treat it on the next Cam Sports Report or Gatewood Sports Report where we do another one of these. But I'll do one more on this that gets us to the bye week. At Washington.
Okay, at Washington.
No, we getting that. That's a W.
Right, we 4-0, guy. Right, with Dak Prescott. He never felt.
Yeah, and it's Alex Smith too. It's if people want to say that Dak is a just very safe quarterback to like a fault, that's Alex Smith.
I mean, we already beat Alex Smith.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. He's not going to give it away like Kirk Cousins does when he gives the gifts away. I think Kirk Cousins is related to Eli, but Jeff, he did pick off Alex Smith last year. So hopefully we can do the same thing and we come out with that W. What's our record now with my prediction?
You're at 6-1, Law. The bye week.
6-1.
Yeah, the bye week is week 8. So through the bye week,
what was our record around this time last year?
5-3, I think.
Not that bad. Plus 2 games?
Yeah, that'd be +2. Yeah.
Where am I at?
You're also 6-1.
6-1. Okay.
Yep, I'm 5-2.
5-2.
I had the Seattle trip up, and then I have Jacksonville as well. I do think I could see either of those breaking the other way though, because Dallas does have a tendency in the years that they're good. They do typically put on a signature win early in the season. So yeah, I could see either of those being
we do play down to the competition. That's why I said we lose against the Lions.
Yep. Justin Quarles is really feeling you, Law, in the chat.
Appreciate you, Justin. Salute to you.
Yep. But, yeah, so that takes us through the first 7 games of the Cowboys thing into the bye week. So in the next episode we do of Gatewood Sports Report, we'll do the second half of the season and give final kind of predictions there based on what we think if it's a playoff team and all that. I'll save this document I got for our records too.
Right.
Just so we can keep building off that.
So if I'm right, guys, you guys buy me beer.
Yeah, we'll do that. Loser buys the other guy's win. If we got a tie, we'll figure out a tiebreaker, damn it.
What type of beer, man?
Oh, man, just give me a Corona, man.
You want a Corona?
Lida la raza.
Got a Corona.
Mucho elegante. What's going on?
Very nice. All right. Law, how are you on time?
Yeah, man, I got a really
You're up
sweet
against it? Yeah. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm sure most of the people in the chat know you, but tell them where they can find you and all that, and Cam and I will press on into some NBA talk here in a moment.
Yes, thank you guys for listening to what I had to say about my small mind of football. But you guys can always follow me at Laws Nations at Facebook and also in Twitter, the same as LAWS Nation on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and then of course Law Nations on YouTube. And I'm also on SoundCloud now as Laws Nations, as LAWS Nation, and that's where you guys can find me. And remember, you guys are listening to Nothing But the Bass. Salute. I'm out.
Thanks, Law.
Peace.
Right, Law.
All right. So, pivoting here to talk just a little bit on NBA. Cam, what was your reaction to the news Sunday night when LeBron James made his decision?
Ooh, man, I was like, thank God, get off to Cleveland. Because I mean, it looked like his ideas is trying to get Golden State off, from not being in the playoffs. That's what it looks like he's trying to do. But I mean, I don't know, man, because I think it's a good look. He already did what he had to do in Cleveland, so I mean,
Yeah.
It's time for a change. It's time for a change. But what do you think? How you?
Right. Well, thankfully, I had been on air for about 2 minutes prior to the news breaking. I was actually doing a stream with Big Game James, just talking general free agency, and so I got a very nice pop from that as far as the views and everything. Some of the guys in here, I think, were there seeing it. It was definitely crazy. It was like something like 15,000 people watched the stream during the hour and 25 minutes we were live, which was insane. And as for my feelings on it in general, it's definitely a seismic shift as far as that. It's yet another all-star, let alone the best player in the world right now, going from the East to the West. And it makes it almost a cakewalk for the Celtics right now. I know Philadelphia is getting really good, but they've lost a couple crucial pieces, role players as well, that were part of that success they had last year, really just late last year and into the playoffs. So it shakes things up in that regard, and Boston is still good enough that maybe they could have competed before we get to the next part we're going to talk about. But for me, this kind of signaled that LeBron was looking really to a career beyond his playing career, if that makes sense. Magic Johnson is a great success on his own outside of the NBA and everything like that. And I think LeBron has those same philanthropic views and visions. And as a result, I think Magic was a great selling point by himself for the Lakers, because he can kind of show LeBron a little bit of the way in that. Not that LeBron ever needed help marketing himself, no matter where he played, but I think it's just different when he's in LA, which is already a place that for several years has basically been a second home for him and his family. So it makes sense in that regard, and I think it's just something where it's the best player in the world, and we know LeBron obviously has that. He agrees, right? He shares that opinion that he's one of the best ever, and he should. But I think he envisioned it where the Lakers made sense. In his mind, the best franchise, the best player. And I don't think he ever would have considered Boston, even if the situation had been reversed where it could have worked for them. I think it was LA or bust as far as where he was going. That's why Houston couldn't get in on the mix.
I think I was talking about, I was hearing on the radio that he was looking into 76ers and the Lakers.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out why the 76ers.
Well, the problem with that is you would have a ball-dominant guard with him, or ball-dominant player with him and Ben Simmons, and the word is LeBron would want to play off-ball a little bit. But the 76ers, I don't think ever really had that much momentum because LeBron didn't even meet with them. His representatives met with them. Now, LeBron talked with Magic basically to just confirm everything he wanted to hear, and then was like, okay, I'm sold. And that's all it was. LeBron made his decision Saturday, and it wasn't until the following night that it broke. And before it even broke, he and his family went on vacation to like Europe or something just to get away from it. They're like, yeah, you guys break the news whenever you want tomorrow night, you know? And I mean, that is what it is. I think he kind of learned from the whole drama he made with the decision. And then he made a big show of going back to Cleveland because I think that was like I don't think LeBron likes to be disliked. I think he wants people to like him, and that's why he made the show of like, you know, the Sports Illustrated article, like, I'm going home, you know? And this time he's like, I can't do a decision part 2, so I'm leaving, but I'm going to do it in as quiet a way I can possibly do it. And to be clear, LeBron to the Lakers, yeah, it's a seismic shift by itself, but they're not competing with anyone yet. I don't even care that they've added like JaVale McGee, Rajon Rondo, and some other bit players like that. They've added a bunch of nice little parts, but it's Cleveland 2.0 right now, unless they can make the Kawhi trade happen or something like that. Did you hear today they actually turned down the same offer to pick up Boogie that Golden State took?
Whew.
There's something weird to that where not a lot of teams apparently wanted Boogie, and to hear the Lakers said no to $5.3 million to get Boogie, that's insane. Like, that is exactly what they needed if they were going to actually compete with them this year. I don't know that it would be enough, but that was crazy.
That's a
4-time All-Star.
That's a what is that? A video game create. You know how you create your team on video game? That's what it looks like. It's gonna be a video game out there.
Yep, when you can change the roster, salary cap be damned. Yeah, yeah. Right. Yeah, it's crazy how they did that, and I don't know anyone envisioned that he would have gone for $5.3 million to Golden State. But to be clear, I don't think he takes that deal with literally anyone else. You know what I mean? Like, I think it was a perfect situation for Golden State and for that to work, because he's not taking that deal with Dallas. No chance. Dallas could have offered him 3 times that deal and he might have still said no, because they're not in a position he wants. That's why I never understood why people would ask about why Dallas, or why I didn't mention him when I talked about guys Dallas should go after. And I was like, well, simply put, I don't think they have a chance. Like, why commit to it and why go after it if you don't really have a chance of getting the guy?
Dallas is just too old school right now. They stuck on.
I don't know if they're old school at this point. I think that I think they questioned his health, and they knew if he was going to do a 1-year attempt to bounce back deal, that it didn't really make sense to come to Dallas, where he won't even be in the playoffs, and where if he's not touching the court until December, January, it doesn't make sense for Dallas either, because they're not good enough to keep him afloat until playoffs roll around. And even then, you're talking 6 to 8 weeks for him just getting back into form. He wouldn't even be ready to contribute to Dallas until the end of the year, when they were already potentially eliminated from the playoffs. That's why Golden State's a perfect fit. Or had he gone to his alternative he considered, Boston, that would have been a good fit as well.
Well, I mean, let's see. What do you think? Who do you think will be the top 5 teams
in the West?
In the West.
The top 5 in the West. Well, Golden State has to be the strong favorite to win, because, like I said, they can absorb his recovery time and everything. So I got Golden State as your 1. I think Houston took a step back. They lost Trevor Ariza, and I think that is going to be a very underrated departure for them, because he's a very good, versatile forward defender. Best guy you can throw at a guy like Harden and all that. So I think he'll be missed. I don't know that they're going to fall off. I still got Houston in the top 5. OKC will be better, and they were a 4 seed last year. They'll be better, but I think the West in general will be tougher. So they could sneak in there. San Antonio is going to take a step back, obviously, with Kawhi. They've given up on retaining him at this point. They're going to ship him. It's just a matter of where and when. So let's see. Portland was a 3 last year. They could be maybe that again. I don't know. That's a tough one. Utah's got to be in there too. They were a 5, and they were damn good. Beat the 4 seed OKC in 6 games in the playoffs. Who do you got in there? Like, who stands out to you?
I would say number one would be the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Number two would be the Rockets. Number three would be the. I don't think the Jazz will come up. Number four would be uh, the Trailblazers, and my number five would be Thunder.
Okay.
I think Thunder would be number five, man.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see for sure. I mean, it's so early to say what the West will look like. All we can say is just the assumption right now. Free agency hasn't even ended. Although I think at this point, all the big money has been spent. At this point, if anything happens, it'll be trades. Because really, the only teams with significant cap room left at this point are Chicago, Sacramento, and I think Atlanta. And none of those places have the that was part of the Boogie thing as well, by the way. No one offered him big money because with how the CBA's kind of gotten so skewed, you have big money got handed out over the weekend, but only to a select few really top end guys. And Boogie's one of those guys, but because he was coming off the Achilles, he wasn't able to cash in. And so all these teams who have interest just said, we don't have the money to go get him. He's not going to want to come here. And I think as a result, he didn't have a lot of suitors because people just assumed they were out of the running. And that is an unfortunate thought process for them when they saw he took $5.3 million to give Golden State the first team since 1975 to have 5 All-Stars from the previous season. That was the Boston Celtics, by the way, if you're wondering. So 43 years. But yeah, man, it's going to be a trip for sure, seeing how all this shakes out. But I'm still excited. I think I'm excited because I'm OKC and I'm a Mav fan. I'm from Oklahoma originally, but the OKC didn't even have a team when I started really paying attention to the NBA. Obviously, since they've had their team a decade, and as a result, Mavs are my number one team, and OKC is like my 1A or 2, whatever you want to call it. And so for them, I'm going to be a little frustrated, just like the Rockets, the Thunder, the Rockets, and you got to think like Boston are all furious over this DeMarcus Cousins thing. Like, really? Did Golden State really need that as well? Especially Houston and Oklahoma City, because Houston re-upped Chris Paul 4 years, $160 million, which is ridiculous money. I don't know why they gave him that much at this stage in his career. It's not like LeBron in that situation. He got more than LeBron, but despite being the same age, he's also a much smaller guy that's not as physically dominant. And so they got to really be sweating that. And OKC, they locked up PG for 3 years, but now they know that one of those years, barring some significant injury, catastrophic injury to the Warriors, might be a throwaway right off the bat. I'm excited for the Mavs, honestly, because the good thing about young teams, you don't have high expectations. You just enjoy watching them develop and grow.
Yeah, because the Mavericks, man, I really feel like they're gonna come up, but I feel like it's gonna be like a struggle.
Yeah, it will be.
It's gonna be like a struggle, but I'm a Mavericks fan, but it just you just get tired of seeing them losing, man. You're like, come on.
You get tired of it, but I think, you get tired of it for sure. But I think if you have a young team, it's more excusable than when you're running out there a bunch of old veterans and they're losing. Like if you got no disrespect to like Devin Harris, but if you're running guys like him out there and your lineups like Barea, Harris, I'm trying to think of some just throwaway part, like any of the throwaway lineups we've had over the years when we were trotting out like Samuel Dallenberg or guys like that out there into the lineup. Like it hasn't been good for a while. That's when it's frustrating watching them lose. Last year, they were bad, but I still had interest in watching a lot of the games because I wanted to see what Dennis Smith was going to do. And now I have that plus Doncic and them understanding, hey, we need to make this as exciting as possible. They basically added a lob threat monster into the mix for at least a year in DeAndre Jordan. And I think that's a smart thing too, even though his game isn't trending in the direction of the league as far as his style of play. I think for the short term, for a year, maybe 2, it made a lot of sense to add him in there. Granted, I don't think they realized what the center market was going to be when they offered him $24 million at midnight.
Yeah. I mean, let's see. I mean, what do you think about LeBron going to the Lakers? Do you feel like they're gonna struggle for a bit to where they might get to the playoffs, or you think excuse me, or you think LeBron is gonna help them get to the playoffs because he's gonna be the whole team? What do you think?
I mean, he'll help them certainly. They were, I think, a 34-win team last year. I think LeBron's good for 10 to 12 wins minimum. That would put them somewhere in the vicinity of, mid to high 40s. So he could get them. He could by himself get them there. I will say this: they're not competing as is for a title. No way. He has to have another All-Star. And LeBron, this is the first time he hasn't had interest. I mean, not that he's not interested, but this is the first time he hasn't essentially demanded his team have another superstar. When he went to the Heat, it was joining forces with Bosh and Wade. When he went back to Cleveland, it was already Kyrie there, but he also said, hey, you're going to take Wiggins and you're going to go get me Kevin Love. They did that as well. Like, this is the first time in a while he's gone somewhere where it's like, okay, you got LeBron and then you got a bunch of, bit pieces and let's figure out how it all fits together. So he'll help and they'll be able to get guys there, but they got to figure out how they want to go about that. They got some good young prospects too, though. Ingram's no pushover by any means, and Lonzo Ball gets a lot of credit too as a playmaker, but LeBron's not going to put up with LeVar Ball at all.
Boy, look at this guy, Jacob Perkins, saying bring Mayo back.
I think he's being ironic. Yeah, Mayo was banned from the NBA for a year. He's right about that. And then he got an indefinite ban for drugs or something like that. And I saw some story like 2 or 3 years ago where it was like no one even knew where he was. Like he had literally disappeared off the map. And they like found him somewhere, and I don't know what. Like he's just literally so off the radar. Like he's just completely gone hermit mode, it seemed like at the time. But yeah, OJ Mayo, I admit I thought he was going to be something for the Mavericks, and for about 25 games I thought I was so smart about that analysis, and then that came crashing down quick. That was a weird experiment, but no.
We be having a lot of weird experiments, man.
Yeah, well, they like their fallen angels. Sometimes they work out, a lot of times they don't.
Man, I was so mad when they went to the finals and they won it, and then after that year, they cut everybody. I was trying to like, what? I was like, come on, man.
Yeah, I think
it's never gonna be the same after that.
Right, but one, that was an older team that I don't think was going to be able to catch lightning in the bottle again, because that's what it was. They weren't the best team in the league that year. They caught fire. And Cuban looked at OKC and that young core they were building, and he was like, holy crap, that's going to be the future. Now, I think he would be shocked to talk to himself today and find out that, yeah, that team didn't even win a single title. They only got there once, and they lost in 5. But that was what he was afraid of. He's like, I got a plan for that. Now, you would think saying that, his philosophy would have been to start giving a rip about the draft, but instead he just tried to repackage all these veterans. He wanted to go like, all right, the big fish, I need to go get Dwight Howard, or I need to get Darren Williams, or I need to get Chris Paul, or I need to go get now DeAndre Jordan, or whatever. And it didn't work. It was a miserable failure, and he was so slow to finally admit that it's only last year that he went like, oh yeah, no, we're tanking. Like, dude, we've been tanking. You just haven't admitted it, and you haven't let us do it well enough to actually rebuild the freaking team. Famously, to keep cap room for their pursuit of Dwight Howard, they passed on the Greek Freak in the draft. They traded back for Shane Larkin, who, like, 1 year later, after drafting him, they shipped out anyway. Like, it was just mind-numbingly stupid decisions like that. And Donnie knows European players. He loved Giannis and everything. So to pass on that was ridiculous.
Boy, man, I'm just tired of losing.
Yeah.
I want them to win. I want them to win so bad, man, because it was like Dallas was like so relief when they hit that finals because it took them a long time to get, because you got Dallas Cowboys. It's hard for us to get to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
And then when they finally went to the finals, you're like, dang, something finally came through.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's getting to a point like, yo, it's either the basketball team or the football team. We need somebody to bring Dallas up, man.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
know we can only be. I feel like we can only be America's team for so long because if we just keep just losing like this over 40 or 50 years and just keep saying we're America's team,
Yeah.
ain't no way.
Right.
I mean, 'cause, Mavericks as well. I mean, you remember Michael Finley back in the day?
Yeah, man. Finley was I mean,
808
in a way, Harrison Barnes. Yeah, I mean, Finley was good for sure. He kind of was like the Harrison Barnes of today in the sense that he was there for a couple of years before the future. This one translating to Smith and Luca came in. They correspond to like the Nash and Dirk at the time for Finley, but yeah, it'll be interesting. I like the direction the Mavericks are going. I don't understand their decision letting some of these shooters go, like Doug McDermott and Seth Curry, especially Curry. That one pained me especially because I don't think he got that much. Doug got a lot of money for a specialty role that really we could have spent that money better. But Curry, man, he did not leave for that much money. So I'm wondering what the hell that was about. But we'll definitely do some more Mavs talk and all that in the future. I'm actually getting kind of up against it on time here. But yeah, thanks for coming on again. We'll have to make this a pretty regular thing here, the Gatewood Sports Report. So tell them about your new channel and where all they can find you and everything.
All right, guys. I just got my new channel on YouTube, Gatewood Sports Report. I am one of the guys that actually work for the Dallas Cowboys doctors and also the Mavericks doctors. So, sometimes you will probably see a few videos of me walking through, and you will see a lot of the a lot of pictures that's been signed even by Jimmy Johnson. Can you believe that?
Nice.
Like we got some Jimmy Johnson shit, man.
Yeah.
So we got so you might see some of that, and you see, I mean, you'll see some legends.
Yep.
We have a mic and try to get one of the doctors to have an interview, and
Okay.
y'all can have.
Yeah, just be careful with that. I don't want you getting in trouble for something.
Oh no, it's as long as we don't
Go into specifics on HIPAA stuff and all that. Yeah.
Stuff like that. I can't pass HIPAA law now.
Yep.
But I can I can give you what I think, But other than that, if we could do some Q&A with the doctors or whatever, maybe.
Yeah.
I could try. And then again, you can reach me up at Gatewood Sports Report.
Cool. Yeah, man. And he'll be on here as well. Cam is one of the kind of newer contributors to the Dallas Prospect, just a guy who likes what we're trying to build in the network and everything. And so, like Cam, if anyone is interested in, whether it's writing for us, doing podcasts, doing these videos, talking sports with Law, Big Game James, myself, Cam, hit us up. We are more than capable and willing of helping kind of groom you as well, whether you need an editor for writing or just kind of coaching up as far as podcast work. We will work with you. This is this whole network, the Dallas Prospect Network, is for fans by fans. So check it out for sure. And also don't forget to check out the website, of course, thedallasprospect.com. You can subscribe to us if you haven't already on YouTube. We just actually hit 1,000 subscribers Sunday. That was really cool. The flood of NBA fans and all that lately have been awesome. Onyx Basketball saying he's not seeing your link. We'll post it in the comment or the description to help you guys find it. But yeah, keep tuned and all that. And until next time, guys, remember, every legend was once a prospect.